TVC Breakfast. The Independent National Electoral Commission has barred 74 political parties from fielding candidates or contesting in an election.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the affected political parties have not fulfilled the requirements for existence. The Independent National Electoral Commission exercised its powers enshrined in Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended that empowers the Commission to deregister political parties.
Now, this new number is a drastic drop from 92 registered political parties prior to the 2019 general elections. Now, the surviving 18 registered political parties will go into another contest for votes later this year in the governorship elections in Ondo and Edo states. Joining us right now is Dana Kinlami, former presidential aspirant in some of the elections, not just one, in the federal government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nice to see you join us.
Yeah,
glad to have you join us. Great. Now, the registration of political parties was very controversial at the time, where a lot of people, does INEC have the right to deregister political parties? All that is over right now. But would you welcome the idea of deregistering about 74 political parties at this time?
Well, I think the move is a fantastic idea.
Okay.
It's a welcome development.
Why is that?
Because we found ourselves in a situation where the registration of multiple political parties is not bringing any dynamic progress to the system. And notwithstanding some of the former presidential candidates and leaders who fought for expansion of party registration, including the leader of NCP then. But we've now found ourselves with a generational challenge in 2019. And what I mean by this is that almost about 80% of those small parties that came on board in 2019 were formed by young people. And, you could see the reason why that agitation was so loud then, because there was this frenzy that the young people want to take over the space.
We remember they're not too young to run.
Yes. So, and I think what INEC did is the right thing, because as we move on, the system will continue to reset itself. So we'll be able to reshuffle and have the serious parties who have come to add value to the system, to the democracy, to stay. The number were quite frightening as at that time.
But some have said that this move is premature because there's still local government elections in about 13 states that will be coming up later in the year.
Well, I think for some of those party leaders who are with this position, some of them are already going to court. Some even were in court before INEC made the decision. I think it will be a fantastic thing for them to test the power of INEC on this. It's going to bring some robust improvements on the law and also the party registration system.
Now, what a lot of people are saying is that, what was INEC thinking in registering so much a number of political parties in the first place?
These are two different powers that INEC has got.
Okay.
The first is the power to register these people once they meet the requirements. And unlike during the time when NCP had the legal battle with INEC, the requirement is not as stringent as having offices in each of the 36 states. For now, your party could have the secretariat in Abuja, or maybe one or two other states. But INEC will come to inspect, to see your national ESCO, how they've adopted the memorandum for the party, and then to check your books and records if you have clicked all the right boxes. So, with the registration fee of about 1 million naira. So, it's not as difficult as registering. But the problem is sustaining those requirements. Also, don't forget that INEC did not deregister these parties alone based on not winning any slot or political office. Some of them have failed in the requirements of the registration. So for many of them going to court, I believe they're going to have difficult case.
You think so?
Yes, in battling with INEC, because a number of them were deregistered, not because they didn't win any single seat up to the councillorship level. Some were deregistered because they failed to meet the requirements, the minimum requirement required of them after being registered.
Yeah, but there are some of the parties as well who say, at least we won one councillorship in one part of the country, and why should we be deregistered? For instance, COA party is one of those parties saying, at least we won a councillorship slot in one of the states.
But I think their own case is unique.
Okay.
And I believe if they go to court, one or two parties might be able to win their cases. But a chunk of those parties don't really have any relevance to make. And so sorry to say, after the election, many of them just went to sleep. They are all over Abuja, their offices. It's very easy. They can just rent 3-bedroom apartments, put one staff there. When election is over, they all return to their states, and nothing is happening. So we need to declock the system. Let the parties that have value to add to the democracy continue to survive, and let's have the party that will not stretch our resources.
Okay. All right, Dan Akinlami, we have to leave it here now. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Right. The Independent National Electoral Commission has barred 74 political parties from fielding candidates or contesting in an election.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the affected political parties have not fulfilled the requirements for existence. The Independent National Electoral Commission exercised its powers enshrined in Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended that empowers the Commission to deregister political parties.
Now, this new number is a drastic drop from 92 registered political parties prior to the 2019 election. The surviving 18 registered political parties will go into another contest for votes later this year in the governorship elections in Ondo and Edo states. Joining us now is Dan Akinlami, former presidential aspirant, here in the studio to give us an insight into all of this. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the remaining 18 political parties, although some of the political parties that were deregistered have decided to test their case in court. We don't know the outcome yet, but the remaining 18 political parties, now that they are left, what impact will this have? Now, would it bolster or strengthen the political process, or would it disenfranchise a lot of people?
Well, I think the purpose of the law is clear. It's to strengthen the system.
Okay.
And there's a lesson in this for the remaining parties. They need to buckle up or get booted out. So the law is clear. So the chances now are there that leaders of political parties that are surviving need to look inward, withdraw their policy, and how they want to engage the system. Okay. They need to shun up policies and ideas that will get their party to continue to be relevant. They need to win elections. They need to bring robust participation to the system, not just having the portfolio of a registered party. Okay. And also, not all the 18 parties are actually the area of focus now. There are 2 parties that have not contested before. So those 2 newly registered parties, they need to see what is happening and know what they are up to and what they are up against. So for as many that are deregistered, that have gone to court, I personally, my opinion, I would have advised some of those party chairmen not to waste their time. They should merge forces with the existing ones.
But it's their right. They might want to, they have to.
Yes, it's their right. They have the constitutional right to go to court to challenge this. And to be honest, this is going to also enrich our democratic space. Okay. Let them engage the courts and let's